Oh my God, I literally just spilled coffee all over myself. Welcome to Blue Mountain Morning, where we, try to make sense of the world without completely losing our minds.
That's one way to start the day, Alex. Good morning, friends. It's Friday, April 11th, and you know what they say. Even in our most chaotic moments, there's a chance to find clarity.
Is that what they say? I thought they just said, thank God it's Friday. But your thing sounds better, more, podcastery.
Well, either way, we're here to help you start your day with a little perspective and maybe even some calm. Let's dive in, shall we?
All right, so let's jump straight into today's horizon. China has just hit back at the U.S. with some serious tariffs. And when I say serious, I mean like 125% on American goods. That's a lot of percent.
It certainly is. But what's really interesting here is that China's Ministry of Finance made a pretty unusual statement along with the announcement. They essentially said, if the U.S. continues to increase tariffs on Chinese exports, China will not respond. They're basically saying they're done with the tit-for-tat measures after this one.
Wait, so they're just giving up? That doesn't sound very China-like.
Not exactly giving up. Their explanation was actually quite strategic. They said, given the current level of tariffs, U.S. goods exported to China are no longer market viable. So they're basically saying American products are already priced out of their market.
Oh, so it's like, we've already killed your imports, so whatever. That's cold.
Meanwhile, Wall Street has been on a roller coaster for over a week now, with markets reacting to every word President Trump says about tariffs. Some critics are even accusing him of deliberately manipulating the markets with these announcements.
God, my retirement account is probably having a mental breakdown right now. Speaking of Trump, the House just passed that SAVE Act he was backing, right?
That's correct. The Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act mandates that individuals provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship, such as a passport or birth certificate, when registering to vote or updating their registration. Critics argue this requirement could disenfranchise millions of eligible voters who lack immediate access to such documents, including married women, naturalized citizens, and low-income individuals. And in other news, there's an interesting situation in Greenland.
Greenland? Who even thinks about Greenland?
Well, the head of the U.S. military base there was just fired for criticizing Washington's agenda for the island. Remember when Trump previously expressed interest in purchasing Greenland from Denmark?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. He wanted to buy a whole country, like it was a used car or something. So the military person got canned for speaking out against that?
Essentially. It highlights some of the ongoing tensions with Denmark over Greenland's strategic importance, especially as Arctic resources become more accessible due to climate change.
So basically, don't trash talk your boss's real estate ambitions. Noted. Now let's dive into our ripple effects segment. Have you noticed that everyone seems to be obsessed with local food again? Like farmers markets are absolutely packed. Farm-to-table restaurants are everywhere, and my Instagram feed is just people showing off their CSA boxes.
It's definitely having a moment right now, though I'd argue this isn't just another passing food trend. There's something much deeper happening this time around.
Yeah, I thought it was just people wanting those perfect heirloom tomatoes for their social media posts. You know, the weird purple ones that cost like $9 each.
Those tomatoes are delicious, though. But no, this revival is actually connected to several larger forces. Climate change is a big one. Local food systems typically have a much smaller carbon footprint since produce doesn't have to travel thousands of miles to reach your plate.
Wait, so my avocados from Mexico are bad?
Not necessarily bad, but there's growing awareness about food miles and transportation emissions. Local food systems are also proving to be more resilient to climate disruptions. When California had those massive floods last year, many grocery stores in the Midwest that relied on that produce chain had empty shelves, while communities with strong local food networks were less affected.
Oh, so it's like not putting all your eggs in one basket? Or, I guess not putting all your produce in one truck from California.
Exactly. And speaking of resilience, the pandemic really accelerated this movement. Remember when the global supply chains completely broke down?
Oh my God, yes. I couldn't find toilet paper for weeks or chicken. It was apocalyptic.
Well, communities with established local food systems were generally more insulated from those shortages. Many small farms pivoted quickly to direct-to-consumer models, and suddenly people realized the value of having food production closer to home.
So it's like a security thing too. I never thought about it that way.
Absolutely. There's also the economic angle. When you buy local food, about 60 cents of every dollar stays in your local economy. compared to just 20 cents when you buy from a large chain supermarket.
Really? So all those farmers market dollars are actually like supercharging our local economies?
They are. And it creates a multiplier effect. The farmer you buy from then spends that money at other local businesses, creating this virtuous economic cycle. Plus, for every $1 million in sales, local food systems create an average of 13 jobs versus just 3 jobs in the conventional industrial food system.
Okay, but let's be honest, Mark. Local food is expensive. Not everyone can afford those fancy $7 bunches of kale.
That's a really important point. Accessibility is a huge challenge. But there are some promising developments there too. SNAP benefits can now be used at many farmers markets, and some markets offer matching programs that double the value of those benefits when spent on fresh produce.
And I've seen those community gardens popping up everywhere too.
Exactly. Community gardens, food cooperatives, and urban farms are all making local food more accessible. There's this incredible urban farm in Detroit called Oakland Avenue Urban Farm that's transformed a formerly vacant neighborhood into a thriving food hub that serves the local community.
This is all great, but I'm still confused about one thing. If local food is so amazing, why did we ever move away from it in the first place?
That's the thing. For most of human history, all food was local food. The industrialization of our food system really accelerated after World War II. Technology advancements, government policies, and corporate consolidation completely transformed how Americans eat.
And now we're just going back to basics?
In many ways, yes, but with modern innovations. It's not just about nostalgia or rejecting progress. Today's local food movement is incorporating technology, online marketplaces connecting farmers directly to consumers, precision agriculture techniques, and community-supported models that share both the risks and rewards of food production.
I've actually joined one of those CSA things this year. I get a box of vegetables every week, and half the time, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Last week, there was this weird knobby thing that I thought was ginger, but turned out to be... I can't even remember what it was called.
Probably Sunchokes, but that's part of the beauty of it, reconnecting with seasonal eating and discovering new foods. There's also something powerful about knowing the person who grew your food.
Yeah, my farmer's name is Eduardo, and he sends these really charming newsletters with each box. It's like, I actually care about his farm now? It's weird.
That connection is at the heart of what makes this movement so powerful. It's not just about the environmental or economic benefits. It's about rebuilding community around food.
So you're saying this isn't just another food fad like, I don't know, those charcoal ice creams or whatever?
I think this one has staying power because it addresses so many different concerns at once. Environmental sustainability, community resilience, economic justice, and our basic human need for connection. It's not just about what we eat, but about creating more sustainable and equitable food systems.
Well, I'm convinced, though I still want my coffee imported. Thank you very much. I don't think coffee grows very well in Minnesota.
Some things are worth the food miles, I'll grant you that. And now, let's take a moment for our morning whisper. I'd like you to pause whatever you're doing right now. If you're commuting, just focus on your breath for a moment. If you're at home, maybe close your eyes briefly. Notice how a single breath contains an entire rhythm. An inhale that gradually builds, a momentary pause at the top, and then a gentle release as you exhale. Nature follows this same pattern. The ocean waves surge forward, hover briefly at their peak, and then recede back to the sea. The seasons push towards summer's fullness, pause at their height, and then slowly release into fall. Your day has this rhythm too. There will be moments of effort and intensity, followed by natural pauses and releases. Don't fight this pattern. It's the heartbeat of everything alive. As you move through today, try to recognize these natural ebbs and flows. When you feel tension building, remember that release will follow. When things feel overwhelming, trust that a pause is coming. Just like the breath, just like the tides. This is how we're meant to move through our lives.
That was beautiful, Mark. I needed that today. You know, I was so focused on that local food story that I forgot to breathe for like 10 minutes straight.
That's not physically possible, Alex.
Well, it felt that way. Folks, that's all the time we have for today's Blue Mountain Morning. Thanks so much for joining us as we try to make some sense of this wild world together.
We really hope today's episode has helped ground you and prepare you for whatever the day brings. If you found value in what you heard, why not share this podcast with a friend or family member who might need a little morning clarity too?
And don't forget to email us at bluemountainmorningpodcast@gmail.com if you want a shout out on the show. I love reading those emails. Some of you are so weird, in a good way.
We'll be back on Monday with more news, insights, and hopefully,
My sanity intact. No promises, though.
have a peaceful weekend, everyone.
Bye, friends. Go eat something local today.